Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and today we're going to be working on a fun project. We're going to make an envelope pillow cover, and this is going to be a fall inspired envelope pillow cover. I love making pillow covers because you can switch them in and out according to season or holiday or whatever you want to do. And I love using vinyl because you can personalize it and make it super cute. So let's get started. For this project, I need a pillow. It can be any size pillow you want. This is just a regular throw pillow I had in my closet. It's all wrinkled, but we're gonna use that one. We're gonna use a measuring tape to measure our pillow, some fabric, whatever fabric you wanna use. I've got my cut file. It's already cut on here onto my vinyl. This is a heat transfer vinyl, so we're gonna be able to heat transfer onto our fabric. To find cut files, visit us on ellieandmag.com. We have a ton of different really cute cut files on there. And we also have a video on our channel about how to download and print this vinyl cut file. So if you have questions about that, please check that out. I also got some really cute trim to put around the edge of my pillow. I think it'd be adorable. It's always really cute to add a little accent to your pillows and stuff like that. The first thing I want to do is I want to grab my measuring tape, and I'm gonna measure my pillow from seam to seam. So this way is 19 and this way is 19 inches. So it's a 19 by 19, it's a square pillow. So once I know that, I'm gonna write it down because I'll forget it. 19 by 19. So I'm going to cut the front piece, is gonna be 19 by 19, and the back piece we're gonna cut. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna divide the 19 by half, so 9.5. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're gonna cut two pieces by 9.5 plus 2, so 11.5. The reason why, actually you could do it even a little bit bigger than that, you can add 3 inches or whatever you want, is because that 2 inch will be my overlap. So when we put our pillow in, that's what the pillow is going to overlap to each other, okay? You gotta account for a 1/2 inch seam allowance, so it's really like 1.5 inches overlap. So you can do a little bit more or whatever you want. I'm just gonna do the 2 inches. So I'm gonna cut one 19 by 19 and another piece 19 by 11.5. All right, we've got two 19 by 11, well 11.5, 19 by 11.5, and then one 19 by 19. So the first thing we're going to do is we're gonna go ahead and hem our two back sides, and we're gonna hem one of the long raw edges. So what you can do to hem that, you can either go ahead with your serger or your sewing machine and finish that raw edge and then fold it up in top stitch, or you can do a 1/4 inch fold up and then another 1/4 inch fold up, which is what I'm gonna do, and then use your sewing machine and sew it. All right, so my two backs are hemmed. I'm gonna put them a little bit to the side. I'm gonna grab my front panel and I'm gonna face it right side up on my mat. Because this is basically a square panel, 19 by 19, it doesn't really matter where we're gonna measure it again and make sure, because I'm like, 19 by 19, yeah, so it doesn't really matter which way I place my vinyl. But if you have like a rectangle, just make sure that it's in the right position. And I'm gonna grab my vinyl and I'm gonna peel it off. I haven't even prepped it yet. And then we're gonna stick it on. Now for the last little few pieces, I can use one of these little hook things and just pull those pieces right out. All right, so here is my cutout. As you can tell, it was printed backwards, so that way this is the side that shows, because when I place it on, it's gonna go this way, right on my pillow. So you can go ahead and measure your pillow just exactly where you want that to be. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna fold my pillowcase in half. You can give it a little steam. Let's give it a little steam so that we can mark that half of my pillow. So fold it in half. Give it a little steam right there at the top. I'm gonna take that steam off for the next step, which will be attaching my vinyl on. Okay, so now once I've got that half right there, we're gonna go by that and put that as our half of our lettering. That will be like right in the middle. This looks good to me. I'm gonna line up my letters with my plaid. All right, so now once you've got it on there, you can go ahead and use some cloth. You can use the same, I'm gonna use my same cloth and apply some heat to transfer our lettering on. That's why it's called heat transfer. Now, if you have a press, that will be a lot easier to do. Not easier, but I mean, it does a cleaner press. But I just use my iron because I don't have a press right now. Maybe it'll be something I'll get here in the future. I haven't done a whole lot of cut files because of the fact that we moved and I had left my Cricut machine put away. I hadn't taken it out, and so now that fall is here and Ellie and Matt came up with all these new designs, I'm like, what am I waiting on? So I plugged it back in and I got to creating, because this is so exciting. I love decorating my house. I love having themes. I love following seasons and stuff like that. So this allows me to do that without breaking the budget, because as you know, buying, you know, like seasonal pillows and seasonal tops and everything can get a little bit expensive. So being able to do it myself saves a little bit of money. So I'm all for it. You all know that. So I'm going to continue to do this. I'm going to put a little bit of heat. And then once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and remove it slowly, making sure that it has stuck to my, oh, see, this one's not all the way stuck. So we want to go ahead and that's what we want to do it slowly so it doesn't get all messed up. And the leaf is not all the way stuck either. So we want to go ahead and work on those a little bit longer. We just want to make sure that they are really stuck on before we remove it. So you want to do it slowly and nicely as you're trying to remove it so it doesn't tear off and get all messed up or anything. All right, I think it's almost there. You only need it a little bit longer. Ah, that corner's still not all the way stuck down. This is why press, it's really nice too, because it does the whole thing at once instead of having to move it around and keeping track of where you've done it and when you haven't. Like right here, this little corner, struggling. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm also gonna turn it around and give it some heat from the back to make sure they're stuck nice and sturdy. All right, now that that is on there, so cute. This pillow is gonna be adorable. We can go ahead and grab our backing and we're gonna place it right on top, right sides together. And we're going to overlap. See where I hemmed that bottom? Those hemmed bottoms are gonna be overlapped because that's what's gonna create that envelope where you can open here and stick your pillow inside. Now, remember I mentioned I got some trim. So what I'm going to do, instead of, you know, if you don't have trim, that would be your next step, but I have trim. So I'm gonna go ahead and pin my trim all the way around the top of my pillow. And I'm gonna go to my sewing machine and I'm going to baste it on, because then when I sew the two pillowcases together, I'm gonna make sure that trim is on there. I usually position my trim a little bit in from the edge, the outer edge, so that it just catches it with my seam allowance. You do have about a 1/4 inch to 1 inch seam allowance on this one. You say, oh, well, but we made it the same size as the pillow. Yes, but you want it to be a little bit snug on the pillow. So that's why we made it the same size as the pillow, so that once we take that seam allowance in, then it takes about, if you take a 1/2 inch seam allowance on each side, it take about 1 inch. So it pumps out the pillow and makes it tight in there. You don't want the pillowcase to be like super loose and just kind of hanging out and not looking good. So that is why we do the exact size. I think I have enough for all the sides, maybe not. So I think I might just do like the top and the bottom as an accent piece. This is all up to you. I'm going this way because I want it, this way. Oh yes, this way. What am I doing? I want it to be right side out, right sides together, because once you attach them together, it's gonna kind of poke out just like that. And this is where you can get creative. You can do really cute ribbon, or you can put some of those tassels at the end. All kinds of things you can do with a pillow. I love it. So as you can see, I only have enough to like do one side. I don't have enough for both sides. So I'm just gonna do the top and the bottom. I'm gonna go over to my sewing machine, put in a basting stitch, which is a long straight stitch. I think on my sewing machine is a number 4, and I'm just going to baste those on to my front piece. All right, now that that border is attached, of course, if you had a border to go all the way around, you would attach it all the way around. If you had just the pom-poms, you would just attach those. Whatever it is that you're doing, you would attach that. And then we're gonna grab our panels and we're gonna put them right on top of those right sides together. So the right side of the panels, of the backs, are touching the right sides of the front of that panel. And we're going to sew them together, right sides together, all the way around. Now, if you did a trim and you wanna go ahead and baste it first, and then turn it around and make sure that you cut that whole trim everywhere, you didn't cut too much of it, you got it just right, go ahead and do that. It is up to you. I'm just gonna go for it and sew it first on my sewing machine, and if it looks good, then I'll go over to my serger and serger on. You have to be careful too. Another issue is if you're sewing this, sorry, I had left my clips over there by my sewing machine. If you're serging this if you don't have a trim, you can go ahead and serge it, but since I have a trim, you need to make sure that your trim is not too thick for your serger, because then it's gonna get all wonky and weird. And this is just a thin trim, so it'll be fine. I won't have any issues with it. But some might have issues with their trim. So just make sure that you're careful when you're sewing that on. If your sewing machine is gonna be able to take it or not. You don't wanna hurt your sewing machine. I've done this before with thin trim like this, and it's been just fine. So I know I'm fine to do that. But if you don't want to, you can just use your sewing machine and then finish the raw edge with a zigzag stitch or something like that. So I'm gonna go first, I'm gonna sew it all the way around. I'm gonna check it, so I'll flip a little bit over here where the bottom is and where the top is, where my ribbon is, because I want it to get caught in my seam. So if it didn't, then I'm gonna go back and sew it a little bit closer. So I wanna make sure before I just go and serge and then I turn my pillow around, go to put it on, and my ribbon is not all the way on. So you wanna check that out before. And then I'm gonna hop over to my serger and just serge around to finish up those raw edges. Then we're gonna stick it on our pillow and I'm gonna show you just how cute it is. All right, friends, let's turn our pillowcase around, making sure to poke out those corners. How cute is this? How cute is this pillowcase? And now we're just gonna, you can give it a little steam really nicely so that your corners and sharp and everything. And then we're gonna go ahead and stick our pillow inside of it. So see this little opening right here? That's your envelope opening. And we're gonna stick our pillow in there. And here's where they overlap. How cute and adorable did this pillow turn out. You know what? I do kind of wish that I would have had enough for my sides as well of this ruffle, but that's okay. I don't know, might go back and get some more different color different color fabric and make some other ones, get different trims, like different styles, maybe some puffs right here, and just put them all together. I think that will be super cute too, to just do some plain ones without any decals, put them behind them. But I think this turned out super adorable. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. All right, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please comment, like, share, subscribe. Come share your pictures of your make with us on Facebook and Instagram, where we have a lovely community. And we'd love you to come and check it out so you can be inspired by other sewists. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time.